So love who you love, love don't care anyhow. It don't care if you're black or white. Don't care if you're young or old. Love don't care if you're rich or poor. And you need somebody to hold.
What it do? What it do? I'm
What's
the
up,
black guy.
And I am the white guy. I'm not as tan now. I'm losing my color, man. But
Your color's
yeah,
good, man. You need to
you
get a little bit
expect it.
darker. The darker the better, man. You might get pulled
Yeah,
over, or your credit score might drop, but you'll look better though. So keep that in mind.
there's some advantages, I suppose, inherent there.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Black, white, left, right. I'm sorry to talk over you.
That's okay. It's
Yeah, this
okay.
art.
Yeah. Once
Yeah,
again,
this
the
art.
show is black, white, left, right. I'm the black guy. Mike's the white guy.
I'm the white. That's right.
It's a friendly, free flowing discussion where we discuss topics and the things that are relevant in today and maybe not so relevant today. They might be relevant to us, but hopefully, if they're relevant to us, they may be relevant to you as well. So that being said, I haven't seen you in a couple of weeks, man. How you been?
Doing pretty good. And a little travel up to Virginia to meet my girl and out with my kids. Got the new year started off with a bang. A lot going on, so staying busy. And so, yeah, so no more trips. We got to pay for everything now. So it's getting ready for tax time, and looking forward to at least tomorrow. The big game is coming out. Who you got on the Super Bowl?
Oh man, yeah, wow. Super Bowl number, I think it's 59. Super Bowl 59.
All right.
I'm a huge football fan, and I'm a big Patrick Mahomes fan. So I'm picking the Chiefs to make it do what it do, and to three-peat. It'll be the first three-peat in NFL Super Bowl history. So history could be made tomorrow. Yep. And if history is made tomorrow and the Chiefs do three-peat, will Patrick Mahomes forever be labeled the GOAT? What are your thoughts?
Oh, I didn't expect that coming. He should be in the discussion. I mean, the dude has done a lot in a short period of time. I mean, there's always going to be the comparisons to Brady. I mean, if he continues like this, especially if he grabs another couple rings, I don't know how many Brady got. What, seven or something?
Yeah, 7.
Yeah, and I think Belichick, coach wise, has 7 or 8.
He has 8.
It's just going to be hard. I think when Brady went to another team and then just brought that team immediately to the Super Bowl, that was pretty awesome. I mean, obviously he needed
Mahomes
the whole
Super Bowl that year as well.
Yeah, so I mean, Mahomes won't get to ever say, I beat Brady in the Super Bowl because Brady retired, but I don't know, man. I just don't know. I mean, I think this year for Mahomes, his numbers and his performance hasn't been actually as good. But there was 2 years where Brady won the Super Bowl where he was kind of just average. The team did well. They just had, he just was clutch, very clutch. The plays when he needed to do it.
I've watched every Kansas City game this year, and it's been an interesting season. They only lost, I think, 2 games, or only 1 game where they actually tried to win. The last game of the season,
right.
They didn't play anybody. But it's been an interesting season for the Chiefs. And one of the things I noticed is that Patrick Mahomes this year has been more of a game manager, but that's by design because the team struggled early on getting continuity, getting chemistry and everything. So even though they're winning a lot of games, it was all close games, 1-score games.
Yeah.
But as the season progressed, you can see the team start to come together and find its identity. Now they're in a place now where they're really rolling, offense and defense. So I think this season for the Chiefs has been more of an experiment, and I think that makes it even more amazing as the team kind of came together through the season, but kept on winning. So I think this might be Patrick Mahomes' best season, and the difference between him and Brady, where he may get the GOAT status, is if they win tomorrow, no one's ever won 3 in a row. And
that's pretty amazing.
Yeah. I think that might give him a leg up on.
There's
on
just
Brady.
nobody anywhere close to GOAT status other than those 2 guys. I think it's just. I mean, there's obviously other players who were awesome, no doubt. But so I don't know. I mean, he's not done either. It's not like it's his last season. So I mean, there's more years coming. They could keep adding on. More championships of all kinds.
Hey, let me stop you for a second. Can I be selfish for a second?
Sure.
Okay, I'm a huge football
It's
fan.
after your show. Go, man.
I'm a huge football fan, and I am a sports savant. I have photographic memory when it comes to sports,
Okay.
and especially football. And back in the day, I could name every Super Bowl champion in order. All right, and
Okay.
I'm gonna try to see if I can do it now.
Okay.
So,
I have
so
no way of verifying, so I'm just going to assume you're
can
correct.
you like, get your phone and pull up the list of Super Bowl champions? And
All right, let's do that.
if I miss one, I'll stop me. But if I keep going, so until I get it wrong, see if I can name all 58 champions. What are your thoughts?
All right, man. Hold on. Let me get it up here.
This is gonna be fun.
1967. All right, go.
Green Bay Packers, Green Bay Packers,
Yep.
New York Jets,
Yep.
Kansas City Chiefs,
Chiefs.
Baltimore Colts,
Yep.
Dallas Cowboys, Miami Dolphins, Pittsburgh Steelers, Oakland Raiders, Dallas Cowboys, Pittsburgh
Yep.
Steelers, Oakland Raiders, San Francisco 49ers.
Yep.
Where's I? San Francisco 49ers, Washington Redskins,
Yep.
Los Angeles Raiders,
Yep.
San Francisco 49ers, Chicago
You're still correct.
Bears, New York Giants,
Yep.
Washington Redskins,
Yep.
San Francisco 49ers, San
Good.
Francisco
Keep going.
49ers,
Yep.
New York Jets. No, I mean New York Giants. I meant to say Giants.
Yep.
New York Giants. Washington Redskins. Dallas
Yep.
Cowboys. San Francisco 49ers.
Yep.
Dallas Cowboys. Green Bay Packers.
Yep.
What year is that? What year we're at now?
The Packers was in 97. We're not even into the 2000s yet.
So we're 97.
1998
So
is
that's Green Bay Packers, Denver Broncos.
Yep.
Denver Broncos.
Yep.
What year are we at now?
2000.
2000. That'll be the St. Louis Rams,
Yep.
Baltimore Ravens.
Yep.
Good Lord. I said, what did I say? I said Baltimore Ravens.
2002 now.
New England Patriots.
Yep. We get into the Patriots.
And what year's next?
2003.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yep.
New England Patriots. Patriots. What year we at now?
2006.
2006.
Yep.
Pittsburgh Steelers.
You got it.
Indianapolis Colts.
Yep.
What year we at now? What's
2008.
2008. I just said what? The Colts.
Colts. Yep.
2008. That's the New York Giants.
Yep.
That takes us 2009, right? 2009. Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yep.
New Orleans Saints.
You're getting there. Yep. Keep going.
So what? New Orleans Saints. Green Bay Packers.
Yep.
Oh, damn. What's next?
2012.
Seattle Seahawks.
All right, you missed that one.
Damn it.
That's the Giants.
Almost got
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
What I missed? What was it?
It was the Giants. Packers,
the Giants,
then
yeah,
Giants.
that's right. It was the Giants, then the Seahawks. Okay. Let me go and finish it out. Seahawks, Patriots.
Yep.
Seahawks, Patriots, Broncos.
Yep.
Patriots.
Yep.
Eagles.
Yep. The Eagles, they beat the Patriots. Go ahead.
Patriots again.
Yep.
What year are we at now?
We're in 2020.
2020. I just said just the Eagles, right? I said Eagles.
Nope, Patriots.
Okay, then it was then the Patriots.
2020.
And 20, then it was the Buccaneers.
Chiefs.
Shit. Okay. All right. Chiefs and Buccaneers. Okay. All right. Almost made it. Almost made it. I used to get them
Chiefs.
wrong, man, but okay.
Yeah, Chiefs, Bucks, Rams, Chiefs.
Okay.
So,
Almost.
yeah, 2019 was the last time the Patriots won.
Man. All right. That was tough. Okay. All right. All right.
Yeah, I don't know how you got that many of them. I didn't even know who the first champ was. So, how about that? It was the Packers.
Man.
I should have guessed that.
I love sports, man. I love sports. I should have been a sportscaster, man. I love sports. So, anyways,
Yeah.
I know I digress. I appreciate you indulging me.
I'm gonna quickly just say that grew up. My dad was from Pennsylvania, so other than the Falcons being here in Georgia, I pull for the teams in Pennsylvania. So the Steelers got crushed in the playoffs, but the Eagles actually look pretty good. So I don't think that it's a gimme game for the Chiefs, and I actually think the Eagles could win. So I'm going to pull for the Eagles. Do I think they're going to win? Man, it just feels like the Chiefs are going to three-peat. So if I had to put money on it, I would say that the Chiefs probably end up winning it. But what I want is for the Eagles to win. So we'll see what happens. But I'll be watching it. My brother's coming over, and we'll see what all the commercials look like and all that kind of stuff. Today's show, we're going into some pretty deep territory. I shouldn't say deep, some controversial territory, or it could be. I'm going to try to not make it be that way. And as a white guy, this is somewhat dangerous because, I never know what my future is going to be like. I could be asked to be the CEO of some sort of large conglomerate. Who knows, I may run for office, and they're going to pull up some video of me talking about, I can't see, Jose Cuerva. Yeah, here he is talking about this subject, so it's a very good subjects, I think, and it's the kind of stuff we probably envisioned us talking about when we talked about doing this show. But like last week, probably be good for you to cue these up because I don't know what slant you want to take on them. But let's I don't have a margarita, but let's cue this up and get the show started.
All right.
I'll turn it over to you, my friend.
All right. I guess first things first, we'll start with, I think, the topic that you initially spoke about in our production meeting is the USAID office and the cutbacks and the spending. I guess my question is, the things that are happening now, ultimately, is it what the American people signed up for when they signed up for this new administration?
Well, I'm going to quickly answer that. I think for those who voted for the current president, this is definitely one of the things he talked about doing. I mean, he spoke about what departments he was going to create, who he was going to put where and why, long before the election. In fact, many of these people that are in these departments, they were part of the team that was going around when he was running for president and actually part of the campaigns. But I mentioned USAID because basically most people, it's not even really USAID, by the way. That's named like that to play with your brain. It's USAID, and the AID has nothing to do, for the most part, with aid. It's basically a CIA carve-out, and it's funded through mostly dark money like that running through intelligence agencies. And the real purpose of USAID is to project American preferences in foreign countries. Just like the CIA is supposed to be being used to manipulate or to project American power or American outcomes that would benefit America in foreign nations. The CIA, I mean, every nation does this. They implant or put people in other nations. I don't want to say spies because sometimes it's right out in the open, but it's mainly to have different outcomes. Let's say there's an election in Ecuador, and the outcome of that election, if you have the wrong person get elected, could affect America in positive or negative ways. Sometimes it's militarily, sometimes it's economically, sometimes it's supply chain. There could be all kinds of things. Maybe their Ecuador has some sort of rare gem, and China wants that same thing. Our geopolitical opponents across the globe have different needs or have different. We're all competing for sometimes the same things, and not for the same reason.
So, in other words, what you're saying is that America partakes in influencing elections in foreign countries. Is that
yeah.
right?
Yeah, they partake in influencing not just elections, all kinds of things. This isn't a new phenomenon. This is something that's been going on since, before World War II.
Okay, with that being said, is it okay for foreign countries to try to influence our elections?
No, I mean, we obviously want to stop them influencing TikTok, for instance. I mean, it's
So why is
sometimes
it
it's
okay?
subtle
Why is it
like
okay
that.
for America to
Sometimes it's in your
influence?
face. I mean,
So why is it okay for America to influence other elections, but for other countries not do the same to us in turn?
they do that in turn, and they're going to do that in turn.
But you just
And
said
some
no.
of
But
those
you but you
countries
but
are
you
going
but you just said it wasn't right. That's something that you don't want.
I don't want it, and
But you
unfortunately,
do
that's
want
what's
it in
going to
other
happen.
countries. But you do want us influencing
I think
other
that
countries.
going down this path, which I'm glad you did, it looks like at least this administration is trying to start reining some of that in. So it sounds like you like that. It's the previous administrations that have been doing a whole lot of this. What's that?
What I don't like and what I don't want is hypocrisy.
Well,
if we can do it to them, then we shouldn't be upset when they do it to us. Turnabout is fair play.
Yeah. Well, as an American interested person who thinks America is culturally, also what's the word, morally, and in many ways just frankly better for the world than
No,
some
just
of these
because you
nations.
think that don't make it right.
No, I don't just think it. I know it to prove it. That would be
the people in
a
Ecuador have the
different.
right to want sovereignty and fairness in their elections, just like we want sovereignty and fairness in our elections.
Yeah,
the people in Ecuador are no less than the people in America. They're no less important than the people in America.
The people in Ecuador don't get to vote like you do here. The people in Ecuador are under the same rules and tyranny that you are here. So you project what you feel here and your freedoms here and the way things are here as if that is going on in Russia or some of these other places where these people that are in charge there, the people that are in charge in Russia aren't.
Their chosen form of government. Their chosen form of government. That's their business.
It's not chosen. It's not chosen. Sometimes it's chosen by the gun to your head.
Is ours chosen? Is ours chosen? Really?
Sure. Ain't nobody putting no gun to your head or putting you in a ditch if you don't vote the right way. At least not now. Well, that's one of the things that they're finding out. Are our elections actually what we voted?
That's not the point. That's not the point, Mike. You dance like you usually do. You're dancing around the point. You're dancing around the point like you always do.
All right. No, you're changing the point like you do. We were talking about USAID.
You're dancing around the point, and the point is the people in Ecuador, all right, they have the right to sort out their own. They have the right to sort out their own political problems.
Just because you say people in Ecuador have rights like you think they do, and that's like not even the worst country that I'm talking about.
I don't live in Ecuador, neither do you. So you can only speculate.
It affects me and you here.
Just like I can speculate.
It affects me and you here, and that's why America has protected
itself. You don't know what your Ecuador citizen wants or doesn't want. You can speculate, just like they can speculate as to what we want as Americans.
All right. I'm going to get back onto the subject, which was what USAID is and what some of these departments are, that some of which weren't voted on. Their spending isn't actually brought through Congress in normal ways. The purpose of these things was, like I mentioned, whether you like it or not, whether you agree with it or not, I don't care. You can't do anything about it, neither can I. So the administration that's in power is the only people who can try to touch these subjects. I'm trying to educate people on what they are, why they're in place. Sometimes these things actually have saved lives and protected your ass here, whether you like it or don't like it or don't know it or appreciate it or don't appreciate it. You were in the military, and some of the things that you had to do and go, and your safety and the way that you were brought in and some of the relations with these other nations are a direct result of the efforts of some of these things that you think that maybe we shouldn't be projecting or should be projecting. So whether or not you like it or don't like it, I actually don't care. I'm just trying to explain what they're for. But what is going on right now is that this current administration is starting to dig into a lot of these things that are nebulous. Most people don't even know what USAID is. And whenever it's brought up, it's called USAID, and you're thinking, oh, they're feeding Ecuadorians who are starving, or they're bringing aid to such and such nation in Africa or whatever. When in reality, this is not what is going on. And in fact, many of these departments are actually turning their power and their spending and their ops, if you want to look at it that way, not in foreign nations, but that spending is going on right here. And it's going on in ways that are actually detrimental to what you were saying, the people's right to vote, or their right, or what they want. So all I can tell you is, I'll give you some some examples. I don't know. I just brought up taxes are coming up, and it's a lot of money for me to spend on taxes. I guess I'm one of these people that's wealthy and doesn't pay my taxes or whatever, but it's plenty. I don't. I'm in one of the higher tax brackets. It sucks, but we put our money in the pot, and then that pot gets thrown into all these different departments and government agencies, one of which is USAID. And this money is brought into other nations, and in your mind, it's being used for, worthwhile endeavors. But $70,000 for, a musical in Ireland, a DEI musical on top of that, which definitely Trump was running against DEI. I don't know why we need electric vehicles in Vietnam to be paid for by US dollars, a transgender opera in Colombia, transgender comic books in Peru, LGBT, whatever, the activism in Guatemala. It's sex changes in Guatemala. We're funding tourism in Egypt. I could go down. I have a list of 200 things here, and some of which are actually money being spent by these. They're not black op agencies, but they're covert agencies that are spending money for outcomes, and they're actually trying to push certain outcomes here in America, paying news organizations to run certain stories, paying news organizations to not run certain stories. The U.S. government is doing this, and it's getting exposed. And because a lot of this stuff is pointed back at home, the people that are benefiting from that, and some of these folks that have been pushing certain narratives and certain things, we're finding that stuff it's not organic. It's being paid for. Many protests, many things that look like, oh, these people are angry here about something. Then you go to find out that that's been funded. And it's been funded by the government, and it's been funded through these channels. So I don't know. My point on all this is, I would rather my tax dollars be used at home, unless it really is some kind of outreach or something it's benefiting, life and death or something like that. I don't care if it's transgender or not, but that makes it worse. I don't want to be putting on operas in Colombia with my tax dollars. And yes, I think Americans did vote to have this stuff uncovered and to have this stuff stopped. And the fact that one party is trying to stop it all, it's not even really one party. It's the same folks in that party that are raising the most hell about it. And I think it's going to uncover a lot more things. It'd be kind of cool to see how this turns out in the next 6 months, because it's going to start pointing at a lot of things that were done in the last 8 years, and where that money came from and who funded it and how it worked its way through the government by the people who were in charge. Anyway, it'd be interesting to see if our listeners even know what USAID is, that their money is used for these kind of things. Congress approves budgets, but it's really the executive branch that starts funneling this to this and that. And then you have, your heads of this and heads of that who then make decisions. And it's been also kind of interesting to see the people that work in these departments, how they've reacted as people are coming in there and auditing them. It's my understanding that USAID is about to just be removed. It won't even be around. And it's not a small budget. It's something like $40 billion a year. That's a lot of slush money. Just to give you an idea, the elections, I'll just use both parties, was around $1.2 billion is how much they spent running for president, both parties. And that's a tremendous amount of money. And they're 100% trying to affect your view about them and who to vote for. Imagine having a budget of $40 billion and global access with that, how much you can affect with that. That's pretty amazing. And it's not being used for aid. There probably is some of that, but even then, the aid has a purpose in the background. I'll scratch your back. Now we're looking for this. We're coming here to do this. We want you to do that. And whether you like that or not, or don't like it, other nations do that here. And I don't see that going away. In America, yes, does take part in diplomacy and also, I don't know what geopolitical. It's not espionage, although I'm sure there's a level of that involved as well, to try to affect the way other nations act so in our own best interests. And I don't know, human beings somewhat do this in personal relationships. Sometimes it is nasty what people do to each other, but other times it's more or less protective. You might, do certain things or have somebody agree to this because maybe you won't want your daughter being home late, and or this is the outcome, brother. That kind of thing. I mean, I'm simplifying things, but now we can do a show at some point on the history of America interfering with other nations and who's the bad guy or who's the good guy and all that. It actually would be probably an interesting story. But do you want $2 million to be of your tax money going to Guatemala for sex changes? Are you okay with administrations looking into this and finding waste in cutting departments that are doing these sort of things? It sounded like at the beginning of this that you did.
No,
but
no,
maybe
I
that
don't
it's
think,
Trump
I
doing
don't
it
think,
now. You've changed your mind.
I don't think anyone in
It
our
seems to
government is
be the
like,
way things
hey,
go.
I don't think anyone in our government is like, hey, let's go to Guatemala and start putting on transgender sex shows and operas and all that
They
kind of
are.
bullshit.
They are.
Nah,
They're spending
nah. I
lots
mean,
of money for it.
I'm not gonna be gaslit
Yeah,
into believing that.
they are. I
But
can send you the documents. They're
that's
not
that's
doing it
that,
anymore.
that's not my point. That's not my point. All right, so
Okay.
don't cut my wisdom, G. Um,
Uh,
the
well, I'm
point that I'm
giving you the
making is that
wisdom on that. It's true.
the point that I'm making is that if there is underlying benefit from that, if funding an opera is going to sway um,
Transgender
something
opera.
is going to sway something towards our favor that we need, then I understand that that's the cost of doing business. All right. So I'm pretty sure that if they're putting on a transgender sex show, all right, there's a purpose behind it, and not just for the transgender people to feel good about themselves. What's the old saying? What's in it for me? All right, and
Nothing's in it for me.
that's the thing that we need to find out what's in it for us, and if it's something that's going to benefit us as a nation, I'm with it. I'm with it, whether it be a transgender sex show or an assassination attempt, whatever.
All right.
If it's going to push our interests forward, I'm for it. All right.
Okay.
So nothing happens in a fucking vacuum, man. Everything has an equal and opposite effect. Okay. All right. All right. Yeah. I mean, you don't take a shit without a purpose. I mean, everything you do has a purpose behind it. All right. So I won't be tricked in believing that the liberals want transgender sex shows and it's just and we're using tax dollars to do that. It's never as simple as fucking that, man. And you want to try to
Okay.
simplify it, I ain't with it. Now to the other point, that I was trying to make is that I don't want anybody meddling in what we do in America. Period. For any reason, I don't want it. All right. But I'm not going to be a
Okay.
hypocrite at the same time and say that it's okay for us to do the same thing. So if we're doing the same things across the globe, and not just in Ecuador and any other nation that you want to speak of, and if there are countries doing the same thing here, all right, charge it to the game. All right, all right, because I think it's beyond hypocritical, man, to put ourselves in a place where we can do whatever we want across the fucking globe with no repercussions, no pushback, Nothing. And I think it's kind of ignorant to expect that. But then again, maybe that's the American way. Long story short, man. Long story short, as you said before, these are things that have been going on way before you and I got here, and it'll be going on way after you and I leave. All right. So to shut down an office that has a vital role in that, maybe not shut it down, refocus it. All right. Maybe add a little bit more transparency so we, the American people, have a clearer understanding. Like you said, most people think USAID is people, helping feed hungry children or whatever. Give us a little bit more clarity so that we as American people can understand what it is that they're doing, why they're doing it. All right. And then we may have a different attitude towards the usefulness of that office. All right. And whether or not shutting that down has more benefit than keeping it active. And maybe just refocus, say, hey, okay, let's cut it down to one transgender sexual a quarter. All right, or something. I don't know. But right now we have surface level information, and most likely, like you said, most Americans probably don't even have surface level information.
All right? Unfortunately.
All right. So if we're gonna paint it with a broad brush, that's nonsensical, man. Because it don't take a genius to figure out that these things that are happening that are being handled by this office is not just freak shows and operas. Okay.
Yeah. What it looks like, by the way, I do agree with you on the reformation part. I don't think they're going to completely remove. They'll call it something else or create a new department that's doing what it was originally intended to do, which is the CIA type stuff that it sounds like you don't like. But most of this other stuff is going away. And what it has turned into is a giant slush fund for political interests, and using that slush fund abroad to funnel money back to politicians here. And let me be frank with you, it's not just Democrats, okay, who've abused this. This thing's been in place a long time. So I don't want it to sound like, but a lot of what's gone on in the last 8 years obviously hits home to certain types of voters. And, what we're going to see from this is how
8 years, man. 8 years includes Trump. Biden wasn't president for 8 years, man.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, they used USAID against him.
All right.
They used USAID against Trump when he was running during his first term and since then. And they used it to enrich themselves, not just Democrats, Republicans. By the way, some Republicans were trying to remove Trump or get rid of him or hurt him as well.
How many years has
so it's going to expose a lot of people
been in existence? How many years?
How many is USAID?
Yeah.
I think they put this thing together in the 60s, whenever there was the Russians, the Russian scare and all the nuclear.
This has spanned multiple administrations, Republican and Democrat.
Correct.
So we can't say it's a Democrat thing or a Republican thing. It's an American thing.
You can say that it has morphed into what it is over time. Correct. Now, who did what when? That's what we're finding out. And what's going on now
across multiple administrations, Republican and Democrat.
Yeah. And how much of that was legal and illegal is what we're going to find out. And where the money goes now is important, because this is when I'm paying my taxes, right?
Legal or illegal, both hands are dirty.
Could be. Okay. We'll see.
But both parties are complicit.
The next administration, if the next administration, not both parties aren't complicit in what's been illegal in the last 8 years, we'll see. So actually, I shouldn't say that. There are some Republicans who are gonna rue the day that they got involved in some of these things. And it's not just USAID, by the way. I think this is the tip. And this is, again, you're going to hear all these things. Elon Musk is the new Hitler now, or these guys shouldn't have access to your data and all this, whatever. I mean, my Social Security number is a government issued ID. So the government going and investigating something comes across my ID. They gave me the ID. I mean, it's just so funny, these arguments. What they don't want is people digging into where they're getting all this money and how they're doing and what they're using that money for. And it's not what American public paying taxes wants our money to go to. And again, we can go into this further, but I don't know if anybody out there has been listening to all this, or and it's not just this department. They're going to be looking at the Department of Education. They're going to be going into all these things and see where this money is going and who's getting it and why, and how it's being abused. How much of it's going into education? How much of it's going into administration, or funneling over here? Maybe the Department of Education is funding something in Guatemala there too. I mean, you'd be shocked. So that's
the way I see it, man. It's been less than a month with this new administration. I mean, so let's see how it plays out. Give it 6 months, 8 months, 12 months. See where we are 12 months from now, and then we could probably make a more educated argument as to whether or not this is something that's beneficial or not beneficial, and especially in the way it's been handled.
Based on what I explained here, which you can go verify or not, but it sounds like we're at least on the same page that possibly reformations are coming, and it sounds like you're good with that. If it turns out that they're wasting money, or they're abusing these programs in ways that they weren't intended.
As long as there's a fucking purpose behind it, a cogent purpose behind it, doing shit just for the sake of doing it does not benefit anyone. So as long as there's some sort of cogent purpose behind it that unilaterally impacts us in a more positive than negative manner, then I'm with it. I'm with it.
I got you.
No matter who's pulling the trigger.
Right. Okay. I got you. All right, man. Let's move on to one of the topics you picked, which again, like I said, I have to be very careful with this one. I am the white guy. I don't have the C word, cracker.
No,
I mean, I guess I could go down that one, but I mean, I'm not even sure how that came about. I'd have to look that up. But go ahead, man. You tee this one up in the direction you want to go with it.
Yeah. This is something that's near and dear to my heart, since I am a black guy. I don't know if you notice this or not. Yeah. It's near and dear to my heart. Is the fascination.
Hard not to notice.
So what?
Hard not to notice, man.
Yeah, hard not to notice, man. Especially late at night. Is the fascination with the N-word. All right. Yeah. Especially from the perspective of white America. All right. If I had $1 for every time a white person said to me, why is it that you can say the N-word, but I can't? Yeah. My natural response to that is, why do you want to say it?
Yeah.
All right. Why does it matter that you can't say it?
Go ahead.
Well, you can say it. You can say whatever you want. There might be a consequence attached to using certain phrases, certain words. So if you're willing to accept the consequences, you can say it all day long. All right. But yeah, before I get off into a soliloquy, I'm gonna throw it at you, man. Why is it that white people feel they are deprived because we can use the N-word and you can't, or that there's more of an uproar if you were to use it?
Yeah. This is one of those questions where, like, if you were married, I would say, why do you like beating your wife, Alonzo? I mean, why do you like doing that? And you'd be like, what are you talking about? Because I think it's either I'm an idiot or I'm assuming something about you. So I don't know that I sit around and just want to use the N-word or feel like I've been deprived of the ability to do it or something. Again, like I said, I'm more interested in planting trees and not going back and burning down the same forests over and over. So that's a question. It's a setup. Is there somebody that's white that says, boy, I really wish I could use the N-word more? I mean, do you know someone like that?
No, I don't.
Maybe we should invite them on and they can answer that question.
No. But
I think,
like I said,
anyone who's white right now and wants to use that word or does use it, you better have a good reason for it. And that's today, where I think the way that you mentioned we might talk about this was, has it lost its power or its, negative connotations some? And I think the true answer is some, because like you mentioned, I don't know what the word for it is. Maybe desensitization, reappropriation. I don't know. There's a word for black people taking that word and desensitizing it by using it and reappropriating it by, changing it into, an accepted word in certain situations. And I think that might act, look, let me finish. I don't know whether you think that's healthy or not. In my brain, I think it's natural and probably a healthy thing and maybe a healing thing. Can a white person go do that? I don't think we can, because the reason is because it was used by white people as an oppressive, brutal term. I mean, it wasn't ever used in a way that could ever possibly be reappropriated into a positive thing. Now, if you got a white buddy and he's in some sort of line of work or rap or or whatever, and it flows out or whatever, and he seems cool with it and you're cool with it, then you're cool with it. I just don't see a situation where I'm around anybody who's black and I'm just popping that word off and it actually them not having a negative connotation to it. I still think it's a very powerful negative word. I still think it's a very powerful word if you use it in the manner that they were using it back in the day. You are being, you're using it in a racial, offensive, derogatory way, like I'm better than you type way, to demonize somebody or call them that. I mean, the history of it is, they would, if somebody would, like, let's say back in the day, I don't remember, there was a case. I can't remember the guy's name. Maybe it was Claude Neal or something, where the papers were literally using the N-word describing the case to foment anger about the case, trying to affect the outcome of the trial for this person. It's not, there is no good way to justify using the word now. Everybody knows it's a bad connotation to it. Do I feel like I need to use it? No. Are there songs that come on the radio that have it in it, and then you're singing or whatever, and you get to that part and you're like, do I sing this or do I not sing that? Is it cool? Who's around? I mean, that kind of crap does go through our heads if you want to know. But it's not something that I'm not black. I don't have, my ancestors don't have a history of being slaves or being called that. So I just don't have anything to go on that I want to use it. I don't have any emotion attachment to it. I was brought up and obviously around most America culture would say that that's just a bad word to use. I mean, there's a lot of bad words to use in public, but calling someone that to their face, or calling a whole line of people that in public or even by yourself, I think you have an issue. That's a personal issue. That's something going on in your brain. I don't think white people are brought up to say that. I wasn't. And I think that we're in a different time now. That's me speaking to you from my own personal whatever. And does that mean there are people that use it now? Sure. I don't know what else to say. I mean, there's musical artists. That wasn't it. Morgan Wallen's huge. I mean, he popped off that word talking to his buddy or whatever, and somebody caught it on film and posted about him to mess with him. And should he have said that? That's between him and his buddy. And I guess what you personally think about it. I don't think he meant anything. He was calling his buddy that, but he didn't mean it. He didn't mean it like they did back in the 1700s. I don't think, but I'm not defending his action. I just wouldn't have done it at all. I mean, why go down that path? I don't know. Can you see me can you see me calling you that? Or we're at the ball game and I'm like, yeah, man, just throwing that word out. It just doesn't seem like, I don't know. I respect you too much. Number one. Number two, it's not something I feel like would be helpful at all. How am I going to bond with you with that?
Well,
is that a bonding thing or something?
I don't put anything past anybody. All right. Because you never know in the heat of the moment, and if there's anger, you never know what's going to come out of your mouth. Now let's back up to your boy Morgan Wallen for a second there. I'm glad you brought him up because I was going to bring him up anyway. All right. Yeah. That wasn't the first time he used that word. All right. That wasn't a slip of the tongue. It wasn't what they call a Freudian slip. He used it, and he used it often. He used it so often that it came out like butter. All right. All right. So
okay. So if you say so, I don't know. I don't know. That's Morgan Wallen.
I'm not gonna be tricked in believing that it was just two friends talking and it slipped. He said it. He said it often. All right, it's part of his vernacular. All right, and the fact that he got caught. All right.
Let me ask you something.
What?
Did he have repercussions from that?
Yeah, he got more record sales. He made money from it.
Well,
because the white supremacist community embraced him. Okay, he said, no, he's worth us.
70 million records were bought by all white supremacist community, or whatever it is that he sold records with.
Yeah, the white community rallied behind him. Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
Okay,
and that's your business. That's your business. But once again, that lets me know what lane he's in and what lane his supporters are in. They're okay with that. They're okay with it. All right, I ain't okay with it. He'll never get I'll never buy his records. I'll never listen to his music. You know, so. And hopefully no one else in the black community will ever do anything, put a dollar in his pocket. You guys want to fund his racism? Have at it. That's your business. Okay. I mean, but I'm not gonna be tricked into believing that he didn't mean to say it. All right. Just like Jake Fromm, he might not use the N-word, but the elite white people thing. Okay, that's something that a racist says. So I'm not gonna be tricked into believing, he's a good guy. He just made a mistake because he tried to cover it up for a fucking year until he got busted. All right. Same thing with your boy, the guy who just won the MVP.
These are my boys. I don't know how they all became my boys. I guess because I'm white. I'm white. See, anyway, this is the problem.
The guy that just won the guy who won the NFL MVP. What's his name? The quarterback for Buffalo. Josh Allen. Okay. He has a history of that. But nobody mentions that. Nobody mentions it.
Okay.
All right. So the crux of the situation is when it comes to the N-word, man, obviously it's an oppressive word, okay, used in a derogatory manner by white people to black people. So we as a community have taken that word and desensitized it and turned it into a term of endearment to minimize its impact. Right? So we can say it to one another as a term of endearment because we know where it comes from. But a white person can't say that to us because we know it comes from a different place. All right. Now, I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I'll never be a hypocrite and say that I don't use the word because I use it incessantly. All right. Okay. Yes, I do.
Well, I don't ever hear you say it, but okay.
No, but hey, I use it every day. All right.
Okay.
All right. And because it's part of my vernacular. Sometimes I gotta catch myself, especially like when I'm working or whatever. I'm like, don't let it slip. All right. I think I told you this years ago, and you didn't believe me. All right. I told you this years ago. I work in the insurance business. All right.
Right.
I'm self-employed. Plus, I do work for a company as well. I was working for a different company a few years ago, and it's a major insurance carrier. I'm not going to name them. All right. I took over a book of business. All right, and I had to call the clients and everything, introduce myself, let them know, hey, I'll be your agent, so on and so forth. Almost on a daily basis. This is what I would get. All right. Get someone on the phone. They're white. They would ask me, are you black? I say yes. And almost on a daily basis, I don't do business with N-words. Over and over and over and over again. Over and over. And I told you that, and this happened almost daily. Daily. You didn't believe me, but it happened almost daily. Cost of doing business. Dealing with customers. Working in the insurance industry, sometimes you gotta give people bad news. All right. Your claim was denied, or your policy is being canceled, or whatever. All right. And or your rates going up, so on and so forth. You'd be amazed how the N-word starts pouring out when they get upset and blame it on me because you had 5 accidents and your policy is being canceled. But it's my fault, so they don't give me the N-word treatment. Right. So it's something I deal with on a regular basis from white people. All right. And it's not as a term of endearment. All right. So the fascination with this word runs deep. And I think my takeaway is that when white people get mad and a black person is involved, all right, you know, what it says, break glass in case of emergency. That's their break glass in case of emergency. Go to really put the bow on the conversation.
Yeah.
All right. All right. And obviously, you see all these white supremacists, they will not replace us, the torch carrying motherfuckers, and this, that, and the third that you get especially in certain areas of the country, so on and so forth. Man, it's fucking rampant, yo. It's rampant. Even in 2025. I can run down many instances, stories, so on and so forth, when I travel around the country in certain parts of the country where that word is coming out like is part of the everyday vernacular based on where you are geographically. All right. So obviously I'm not gonna get that living in Atlanta. All right. You never hear folks saying that in the streets. All right. But let me go to Missoula, Montana. All right. That shit can toss around.
I don't know. I've never been there.
I've been there. So I know.
You have to tell me.
I know. I've been there, so I know. That's why I said Missoula, Montana. All right. So for the listeners out there, it's okay to use that word if you want. All right. It's fine with me. All right. Just understand that there may be a consequence attached to it. All right. Not saying it's gonna be an ass whipping. It might be something else. But if you're willing to pay the price, make it do what it do. You know?
Yeah.
So you're not restricted, folks, from using that word.
I would say don't use the word if you're white. That would be my best suggestion. And that if you have an issue with someone because of their skin color, the message they're bringing, then being a bigot. It's just that simple. I mean, there's no easier way to say it.
Okay,
there are cultural things.
Let me tell you a story. Let me tell you a story, man, about the first time I ever heard that word. Can I tell you the story right quick?
Sure, go ahead.
First time I ever heard that word. All right. It was in early 1970s. Yeah. I was maybe like 4 or 5 years old in Warner Robins, Georgia, where I was born and raised.
Yep.
You remember Winn-Dixie on Houston Road? Yeah, Winn-Dixie. We're at Winn-Dixie. Me and my grandmother, my brother, and my sister. All right. Every Friday we go shopping. All right. Yeah. And we would take a taxi. All right. From Winn-Dixie back home. So, and back then you had to call the taxi and they come get you. So my grandmother called a taxi. And you remember White Top Cab in Warner Robins? Oh no, this is in business. White Top Cab.
Back in the day.
Yep. Okay. All right. So the cab comes to pick us up. We're getting in the car, putting our groceries in the trunk of the car and everything, get ready to go. This white lady runs out of Winn-Dixie, gets in the car. My grandmother's like, "What are you doing? This is our taxi." And the white lady's like, "No, this is my taxi. I called this taxi. I'm taking this taxi." So there's some back and forth. No, this is our taxi. We're actually in the car. All right. And the driver, who's a white guy, tells us to get out of the car. My grandmother's like, "No, you were helping us put the groceries in the car. You were getting ready to take us home."
Right.
He said, no, this is her taxi. And once again, my grandmother's like, "No." And then he broke the glass. He broke the glass in case of emergency and said, "Get out of my fucking car, you N-word."
Right.
My grandmother closed her mouth. She said, "Come on, let's go." She grabbed those groceries. Back then, they gave you the groceries in the paper bag, not the
right. I got you. Not so easy with the little handles, right?
Yeah, and we walked all the way from Winn-Dixie to the Alberta projects.
I got you.
All right, and my grandmother did not say a word the whole walk, and that's a long walk. But the whole time, I kept asking my older brother and my sister, because I was the youngest, "What's the N-word? What's the N-word? What's the N-word?" And he kept saying, "Just shut up, just shut up, just shut up." Yeah. True story, man. That actually happened. Back to you in the newsroom.
Yeah. I don't have a story like that. I told you I have relatives in South Carolina that were fairly open using that word. And in fact, my dad was the one that told me the story about it and freaked him out because, they just did it right in front of him and it flowed right off the tongue. But, that was back a long time. I wasn't even, I was a baby. You're talking 50 something years ago, but that doesn't make it right or anything. I guess the only way for me to end this is I just feel like we haven't really said the word at all, the real word, this whole time.
Right.
So that demonstrates to me, and you almost never see it, you never read it. It is used in music, it is used at times, in media, but that just shows it's just not a word that people should be using. It still has the negative connotations that it should have. It still has the baggage and all the weight. I just feel like because of the reappropriation and the desensitizing, and that human beings are better. Americans are better. Believe it or not, white people aren't walking around thinking about this all the time. Maybe you think we are. Maybe you're thinking about it all the time, but I'm just not. So I do think it's lost some of what I think that we as a nation are better. That's about the best way to say it. That word's never going to be a good word to use. I don't see how we ever get to the point where, we just start. I just don't. It's like, it's not. This is a totally different thing, and I'm not trying to compare the two. But, if you're Jewish and somebody's trying to minimize, the power of the Holocaust, or when people were being killed simply, for being Jewish or whatever, and you can name other things all through history, different places. Those things are real and they're powerful. And if you have a genetic lineage to that, then it means something to you. At least part of my purpose of doing this show with you, part of my purpose, once again, is to, with doing this show, is to try to bridge the gap, maybe heal some things, be more understanding. It's a good thing to try to do that. So this particular subject is probably going to always be more emotional for you than me. And, I don't know if people are wanting other people to say they're sorry or something. I've done nothing to you. So I don't, I'm sorry that there's American history. There's history. I mean, I don't know what the words are. You can go to Brazil. You can go to, the British colonies. You can pick France. I mean, people of other colors and racism is ubiquitous. I hate that my own nation has a history of things. People point at the Indians and all. You can just go and look at all the worst things about America and just keep going over and over them again. But in the overall, it doesn't make it right. But in the overall view of history, America was doing a lot of the same horrible things that the world was doing. And it seems to me that America is much better than the world in a lot of ways, and that we're more diverse here. We have a lot more opportunities and things, and I think we're just getting past all that stuff. And I don't want to go back down those paths, not because you don't want to be uncomfortable. You don't want to feel uncomfortable. No, I just want to move on. I didn't do it. I wasn't part of it. Didn't create it. And, I'm tired of being told that I have all these advantages and this and that. It's just easier. See, this is the break glass thing. Well, this didn't work out because I'm black. I didn't get hired because I'm black. They didn't like me because I'm black. The white guy got the job. You know why? Because he's white. See, I could turn this around, but it doesn't help anything. I don't think that is going on as much as people want it to, or think it does, but that's me, the white guy. So from my perspective, man, I run into the same economic problems, the same health problems, the same, world problems as you. And what I would revolve around, and I wish Obama had been this, is a person who's wanting to bridge those gaps, is really trying to work towards it. And it seems like anybody that does that just gets destroyed, or it's like, some people just don't want it to be better or whatever. It's what it feels like. But it's a highly offensive word to a large number of people, including white people, and obviously, especially to black people. And so I'm not going to say it on here. And, it just, I think even in a moment of rage or whatever else, you just are stupid to do it. And you have to ask yourself, why did you do that? If you're white, and if you're using the word as a black person, I get it. It does. It's not confusing to me because I understand what's going on there. Now I don't know if you call each other that as a derogatory term, one black person calling another one the N-word. Well, he's just an N-word or something. That's an odd thing for my brain to try to get around, but I don't have these.
Sometimes we
I
use it.
don't have these
Sometimes we use
situations,
it as an insult in anger.
Yeah.
Once again, it just depends on
Yeah.
the connotation behind it. Let
Yeah,
me tell you,
go ahead.
yeah, let me tell you this though.
Yeah.
As a black community, we have tried and tried and tried to find the equal word to call white people that is just as hurtful. Honky, cracker, peckerwood, you name it. All right.
Yeah.
But my summation is none of those words are impactful because we have never oppressed you as a people. We've never we don't have that. We've never had that power, blacks over whites, to have a word that's so triggering to the white community. All right.
Yeah.
So that's it lies in power, and that's where the power is in that word when it comes from a white person aimed towards a black person. Even if it's not aimed towards a black person, just if you say it among yourselves, if you're saying it, we hear it. It hits different. All right, it just hits different.
Yeah.
I know we're up on our time here, but so I'm gonna.
Well, I would just end by saying
Okay.
that words are not baseball bats, although they can feel that way. I've been hurt by someone's words or pretty badly, not in that way, but in some pretty bad ways. And we give the words the power. We let those words trigger us. It's really kind of up to you how to deal with it. If you get mad enough, somebody calls you that to your face in a gas station like the one guy did, and then you end up getting a 40-ounce can of Powerade up against your head, then that's what that guy decided to do. You know what I mean? Somebody else may just ignore it and go home and have a nice day and not let it bother them. I don't know how to tell you to feel on this because, again, I'm the white guy. I just feel like that America's in a better place, and that that relations can be better and people can react less by choice, and you can choose to continue going down this road of everybody saying it and this is what they all feel. You painted Morgan Wallen's my boy because he's white and I like country music, or whatever. It's 200 something a million Americans. I don't think that everybody that bought a Morgan Wallen album is a white supremacist. And I mean, there's probably been some comments.
It's not a deal breaker. The fact that he's a racist is not a deal breaker. Therein lies the point.
Yeah, well, there's I'm sure there's some black artists that are pretty vocal about their hate of white people or what they think of white people that maybe is not a deal breaker for you to listen to. Maybe you vibe off of that. I don't know. I have no idea. So, I mean, this doesn't just run one way. And like I said, then there's people that also, I feel like they use the fact that they're black as sometimes it could seem like the break, this didn't work out for me. It can't be that this is the reason why. It has to be that I'm black. And, I feel like maybe looking into that and maybe looking inward is worth doing in cases rather than immediately jumping into the break the glass thing. And if in nothing else, people hear your stories that you said and whatnot, and it just find better ways to address things when they're angry, I guess. I don't know why you would go that way. That's just crazy. And also, maybe you learn a little bit about the history of it or whatever else. But I, as a white dude, I don't have a whole lot of emotion into this other than whenever I'm started to be painted a certain way when I know. But again, I have to just not overreact on that and move on. I'm going to have a good day whether that person says that or not. And the reality is the reality, whether they like it or not. And so, if they want to be angry about it or this chip is on their shoulder, and I understand why, that's something for them and their God and their day and their family to try to work through. Hopefully they will. And, and do it, and they'll work through it in a way that's peaceful and that it promotes good relations in the future. The person who told your grandmother that and did that to her is a piece of crap. I mean, that was a bigoted piece of crap move, and he used the word. He didn't do that. He didn't use that word. There's no other way to use that word in that situation other than to try to be dominating and demeaning. I mean, that's just the bottom line, and that's what that word is. And that's what it will always be. And so unless you're using it to try to reappropriate and desensitize it, and you're a black person, I just think you avoid using it, and let's all live together. And you know, you call somebody an asshole. If they're an asshole, you're an asshole. You know, I mean,
Yep.
that's really what you're mad at. Or this situation sucks, and I think Geico is a piece of crap for doing it to me. Man, okay, well that's that's good. Alonzo just happens to be the guy bringing the bad news. Honestly, I can understand you. Sometimes you get on the phone with this and that, and it might be some rep from somewhere you can't even understand the English part of it. That might sound racial or whatever, but I do want to understand what I'm hearing on the phone, when you're calling for service or whatever else. So that's just me being a human being, or wanting to, especially something like an insurance claim or whatever. So anyway, I do want to get into the next topic, though, whether we have a whole lot of time for it, because I love them. I actually love them, and maybe you don't. But I thought it was a cool subject, so I'll let you tee it up. Because I think it's a good one. Go ahead. We can do about 10 minutes on this. Let's do it.
Okay. You lost me. Which one is that?
You said you wanted to talk about Snoop Dogg, man.
Oh. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be long, but let's do it.
I lost my train of thought there.
He's pretty popular now, so
yeah. Snoop has undergone a transformation, hadn't he? Because
well, explain. Go ahead.
As everyone knows, a few years ago, he wasn't the biggest fan of our current president, and he had some choice words for our current president.
Yeah.
Made a song, even released a video with some imagery aimed towards some bad things happening. Yeah, to the current president. But now, lo and behold, something happened. He took the blue pill or something, because all of a sudden, Snoop Dogg is like, hey, he's performing at right wing functions and saying that that his turn. I'm going to quote. He said, "I fuck with him now. I fuck with Trump."
Okay, I hadn't read that, but go ahead.
Yeah, he said I fuck with Trump. And I think it stems from the fact that some black guy got pardoned, a rapper guy got pardoned.
Death Row guy.
Yeah, or Crip or somebody,
a
gang guy got pardoned by Trump. Now all of a sudden, Snoop has shifted course, and the black community is none too happy about it for a number of different reasons. One thing you really can't do in the black community is flip sides, so to speak, like that, especially when you're dealing with someone as divisive and as inflammatory as the current president. So Snoop Dogg ghetto pass has been revoked. I think it's irrevocable.
Okay.
I don't think I don't think I know he don't care, because he's made a lot of money over the last couple years from playing grab ass with Martha Stewart to being on these TV shows and everything, and that kind of flies in the face of his gangster persona and all the things that he was about when he was catering to a black audience. But now, since white America now has embraced Snoop Dogg, he has changed his tune. So if you're out there listening to Snoop, why? Why?
Well, I have some thoughts on this.
Go ahead,
and
man.
I would first tell you that if you hate Trump and you just absolutely there's no changing that for you, then you're not going to like hearing this. But black people, black men especially, can and have flip sides. In fact, Trump probably wouldn't have won without a good portion of that going on. So I don't know whether you want to call it taking the red pill. It may seem like this to you because, I do post about things Trump does or whatever, but again, he does not walk on water. He's going to do some things I don't like. The guy isn't perfect. I think Trump 2.0 is going to be a lot harder for Democrats to deal with because of everything they did when he was 1.0. And he was really kind of ignorant about how things work and how brutal the government will come after you. So black people absolutely can flip sides. I mean, there's plenty of black voters who voted for Trump. In fact, A lot of them are being vocal about it. I don't see anywhere. Now you said that he said, you know, IF with Trump or whatever, but only thing I saw that he said I can't say, I'd have to look up the quote. I don't know if I can find it, but it was he mainly came around to Trump and likes Trump, at least the best I could tell, was because of the fact that he did pardon the Death Row Records guy. And it looks like that's about the only thing I could possibly find about it. And for him, I guess that was the thing that made Trump all right. I do believe that the other things you mentioned, which is what I didn't know this was going to be just Trump, but you know, he's come a long way from the Chronic album. I mean, I agree with you. That album was more. You know,
that was Dr. Dre.
I don't remember the name of the Crips group he was with.
No,
grew up.
No, Dr. Dre. That's the Chronic. That was a Dr. Dre album.
Okay, well, from back in those days, what I'm trying to get at is the Snoop Dogg today. I mean, he's been pretty much with the same woman, right? I mean, I think he's only been married once.
Yeah.
He's got kids. You're right. He did that show with Martha Stewart, which gave him a whole new broad appeal. His own albums, I think, were wildly popular and mainstream and crossed white and black barriers. I don't know.
White folks love gin and juice.
Yeah, you know, because he added, you know, elements to the music that would cross over. And he just has an infectious little, you know, whatever about him. You know what I mean? Some people just have an X factor.
You know, he's a Crip, right?
Right. I said I couldn't remember which of the 20s or what. It was one of those Crip groups. I don't, you know, I don't have all that lingo or whatever. But you know, obviously he's changed from a lot of that. I mean, it's a move from. It's pragmatic. The guy, you know, he's on the Verizon commercials or whatever, the T-Mobile or whatever
T-Mobile,
it is.
yeah,
You
with
know,
Patrick Mahomes.
I don't think he's made a full Trump endorsement where he's like, "Hey, man,
you can't be a little pregnant,
Trump,
man.
my guy." You know, he didn't say that I voted for him. He didn't go out and like try to campaign with him. But I would say it would be a smart business move right now to soften your stance on some of those subjects. The guy, whether we like it or not, he's pragmatic and he's fairly smart about that stuff. But for me, I mean, when he was at the Olympics, I liked his segments. And my girl in Virginia, you know, there's Snoop, you know, we were watching it and
How much money he made per day during the Olympics?
I don't care. Well, it was
no, I'm asking, do you know?
Enjoying it.
I'm asking, do you know?
No, I have no idea.
He made $500,000 per day.
Yeah, and he was at the Olympics, getting paid to be there to just commentate. You know, hey, we got a ping pong guy. You know, and he's up there. You know, and you know what, man? He's relatable, even though he's got that whole different background. He's relatable, and it just seemed human and normal, like a normal guy enjoying things like you. And I don't know. I have seen him once live. His shows are still pretty, you know, cripped out. You got the dancers and all that. I mean, it's not a kid friendly show. But you know, I did see the video where he had the bang and the Trump in the clown outfit and all that stuff. So you know, did I like that? No. But it's not like I'm not like you where he did one wrong thing and I'm off the Trump train or I'm off the Snoop train or whatever else. Yeah, so Snoop's, you know, he's morphed. He's had an evolution. I mean, he's a sports commentator, you know, it's kind of funny listening to him comment on certain things like UFC. And I just think he just over time is, I don't want to say grown up. He's moved away from, I mean, if you want the straight gangster, you know, Crip guy or whatever, he's not that anymore. I mean, his explicit lyrics, he's lessened it. He's removed the violence from the lyrics. Was an actor. He's moved beyond music. He seems to emphasize family and humor. He's becoming more of a businessman. He was just West Coast, but now, you know, he's pretty much worldwide. He was at the Olympics. So the dude has moved, you know, pretty much worldwide. And I think that you can evolve your views. You can evolve on things. Some black people have evolved to be okay with Donald Trump. And some people's views on things like Charlottesville or whatever it was and things like that what really happened to them, if in your view, is one way, and to other people maybe they've look at it in a different way. To me, the end result by a person, what they're trying to achieve, is far more than what I believe that, and I believe what's going on in reality more than I do the news media or what some sort of political group is trying to push on to me. Because we've been like that USAID. We've been part of whether we like it or not, including with COVID and other things, we've been part of push media that has agendas and have purposes that the truth always isn't that. So is Donald Trump some super moral, great person or whatever? That's between him and God. I'm a results guy. I'm a spreadsheet dude. That's what I am. And I want, these are the things that are important to me. And he fills that spreadsheet. He's a +1 on a lot of them. So maybe for Snoop, the +1s became more than the -1s. And he's in a position in his life now where the people who are mad about that are -1s, but all of his +1s are more than that. So I don't know. I just like him. I think he's funny. He's infectious. I couldn't tell you the last album he had or last song he had. It's more about the Snoop personality now than it is, anything else. So, whether his lyrics meant a lot to you, to yourself, to your soul, to your belief systems or whatever, and he's thrown all that out the window, that's for somebody else to say, because I didn't really like the Gin and Juice song wasn't some sort of, fight song or, it was just a fun song, so that's what he was for me, or it is for me. Do I like him because of Trump? No, I still liked him even after he did the Bang video, or whatever. You've watched the Grammys the other night. These people are freaking weird. They're weirdos, man, and they live a different life. And
I didn't watch the Grammys. I haven't watched the Grammys in 20 years.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it just happened to be on. I used to tune in because I wanted to hear like good singing or, like some cool performances. And it's just who could be more weird than the other person, and how much more crazy liberal and whatever can you get. It's just odd, and it turns people off, and that's why there's no viewership. So it's probably smart for him to be more mainstream, I guess. But the dude is selling Hot Pockets and everything else. I mean, God bless him. That's all I can say. Now, you finish up with your views on it. I do think some people can change and have different views, and for some people in the Black community, you're saying that once you do that, you're just not accepted in these circles anymore, at least the ones that you're in. And if that's your word on him, then who am I to change what you believe? There's probably some things people could do that I'm just never gonna, I'll never buy your album again, or I'll never do whatever. But I'm more, like I said, it's just politically throw them all out. But unfortunately, we have to have certain people in place, and it's like a spreadsheet. I want results. Results is what I want. And the people that are going to like make my life better, and they're not just saying that and then turning around and taking more from me or controlling me more or whatever. So I don't know. He definitely has changed since back in the day. Do I think he's a super Trump fan? I don't know. I don't think though. I don't think that. I don't know. But I mean, people can be really reactive about Trump. Trump is like a big, I think Obama was this way for some people. Like whatever Obama's, I think there was some cool things that Obama did. He's the kind of guy you could probably sit and have a beer with and joke about, whatever. He's probably pretty cool to hang out with and stuff. But, if you get into down what his belief systems are and +1s and spreadsheets, man, me and him are as far away as you can get. I think he did a lot of damage in many ways to relations in America. But, as a dude, probably kind of a cool dude to hang out with or whatever. He was, I think he got a lot of votes because of his charisma and some of the things he said at the beginning of his political career. He definitely changed. Marriage between a man and a woman, all these kind of things, man, that was for election. I'm in here now. Now I can do what I really want to do. So it's refreshing for somebody for Trump, for instance, to say, this is what I'm going to do. And this is what I ain't going to do. This is who I'm bringing. And here's who I'm going to get rid of. And then he comes in and doing exactly that. So it, and actually doing it. So that's kind of refreshing. Some of the stuff I don't want him to do that he's going to do, and he's going to do it. But at least I know. I mean, the guy said that's what he's going to do. He's not effing around about it. So anyway, you give me your thoughts
lately?
Yeah. What's that?
You seen the price of eggs lately?
Yeah, it's all Donald Trump. It's all Donald Trump's fault. He got in for 2 weeks, and man, the price of eggs just magically didn't get better. What the hell? You know what I mean? People have to have some common sense about stuff, but it's okay. I want to be talking to you in 2 years, and then you can say, hey, look how much worse your life is in 2 years.
Lied. He said
it might be. It might be.
He said day one he was going to lower the cost of groceries.
Yeah. Well, I think we're going to all have a lot more money in 2 years. You'll see. That's you know what? You should be praying for that. Why would you want it to be any worse, any different?
Yeah, I'm doing great.
That's one of the things that, we talked about that Dave Chappelle thing.
The last 4 years have been a fiscal boom for me. So.
All right. Well, it's only going to get better, my man.
Yeah. Certainly hope so.
But even if it just stays the same for you, I would hope that for the nation as a whole, America would be better in the next 2 years. That's what I'm hoping. I feel based on what he's doing and what he says he's doing and all the cutting and everything, I don't see how it can't be better. But hey, you know what? We'll just have to see. Snoop Dogg, let's wrap him up. What your final thoughts on him? I told you from a white guy's view or whatever, or just from my personal views. I don't have a beef with him. I don't have a beef with him. There was a time, where he did put Trump down. I didn't look. I was going to look up that roast he did in 2016. You remember he had that roast where he roasted Donald Trump or whatever, and there was some pretty funny stuff. And I think Trump laughed at it all or whatever. But I mean, some of it was pretty personal. But Trump does that too. He goes there. So I mean, the guy, give it, take it, and give it. So, but anyway, your views on Snoop, and we'll wrap this up.
Hey, my views are pretty cut and dry. My soul ain't for sale. If his is, that's on him. He has to deal with that, and he has to deal with the black community as well. Because after Trump is gone, you can't come back home. Snoop, if you're out there listening, and I'll leave it at that.
All right. Well, sometimes when you can't come home, you find a new home.
That's right. You're going to have to.
You'll find a new home.
You're going to have to.
That's right. Where there's all these rules and all these things. Yeah. You just find a new home. Well, look, man, some pretty diverse subjects here. It'll be interesting to see how people respond to it and what their thoughts are.
Subscribe. Follow us.
Yeah. Again, I'm going to try to do these about every 10 days to 14 days. At least one a month for sure. Definitely one a month. But I've enjoyed it, and I'll be probably texting you during the Super Bowl. We'll see what goes on. Hopefully the game will be no controversy. Can we at least hope for that?
Yeah.
Like there's not some, everybody's, the Chiefs, there was a bad call and they won again. Let's just have a fresh, clean game. Nobody gets hurt, which changes the outcomes of the game.
All I know is a black quarterback's going to win the Super Bowl. So.
Yeah, that's true, man. Two really good ones. Really, really, really good. Yep. I mean, it's going to be I think it's going to be a close game, a defensive battle more than, yeah.
It was close last time.
But yeah. So, and if, again, I just don't want some sort of controversy to blow the thing up or make it, where everybody's talking about that rather than, hey, this is what happened. I don't want a boring game where it's 3-0 or something like that, or 7-3 or something.
It'll be an exciting game.
I mean, I don't want it to be too much, but
scoring in the high 20s, low 30s. So
I haven't looked at the over/under or any of that stuff, so just have to see how it goes, man. Well, man, enjoy your weekend.
No doubt.
Once again, I'm the white guy, Mike.
I'm the black guy, Zoe.
Yeah, and this is black, white, left, right, and like Alonzo says, man, it's better to talk it out, try to get some understanding, no hate. And I'm interested in trying to put the fires out and maybe grow things. That's where I'm at.
Absolutely.
Hopefully we can do a lot more growing as the year goes on.
Same here.
Love y'all. And thanks for tuning in and keep checking this out here. We'll see you next time. Peace out.
Later.